Hello there.
Hey, how you doing?
Great.
Sorry that I'm late. I was using the bathroom. Then I said a little prayer, but yeah, I'm good now though. So
Good for you.
yeah. So how have you been, man?
Life is great.
Yeah, definitely. Life is definitely great, man. I mean, it's a nice sunny day, and it's a nice Sunday morning. I got my food. I got my food, so I mean, I can eat that later, and I got other things that I needed. So yeah, life is pretty good.
Fabulous.
Yeah. So I did download that one app that you recommend, that one Google
The
Google,
alternative Google.
yeah, the alternative Google Yandex. I'm not
Yeah.
gonna lie, I've seen it, and man, it has so many good qualities that the real Google doesn't have.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna lie, man, as soon as I directed it, because it's I pressed the link to join this, instead of taking me to the page on the app, it just directed me to this app right here. So I mean, this app is pretty good. I mean, I'm definitely gonna use it from now on, man. I deleted the DuckDuckGo app because of what you shared, and how they collect data.
Yeah.
They collect data and sell it, then lie about it apparently.
Yeah. At least one person on Reddit said it, and in fact, there's other people have said it like quite a while ago. So it's nothing new, really.
Oh wow. So, uh, I guess I could say this. It's a good thing that I didn't really use it as much. I mean, I used it to look up small things, but I don't think it's really worth selling.
Yeah, I suppose so.
But I mean, but it is what it is. At the end of the day, I deleted the app, so hey, hey. I mean, but for the most part, I just feel good. I really do feel good. There were certain things in where that probably should have pissed me off. Like for instance, my dog. We were walking, and I sometimes walking without a leash, and I was calling him, but he didn't listen. And I was pretty chill about it, but at the same time, I was a little upset, but I wasn't that upset. It didn't ruin my day, because
Yeah.
are you saying?
It, no, I was gonna say it happens. There's gonna be things that just seems a bit off, but it's not too much that you should make a big fuss about it because I think that is going to happen at some point. You've always got to find ways to handle it.
Honestly, yeah. I mean, my dog is usually he's good, so I mean, it is what it is. I was surprisingly chill about it. I mean, I told him, I instantly forgave him because it's it's a Sunday. I wasn't trying to go to a new church pissed off, and because that obviously would have ruined the experience a little bit, but hey, I'm just glad everything's okay now.
Yeah.
But yeah, so far you know, has there been anything new in the news lately?
Well, there is one thing that I think a lot of people would know by now in regards to weapons. But
Ah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's all you need to know.
Yeah.
There's nothing else needs to be said.
Yeah. I have heard of that, man. I mean, wow, that is crazy.
Yeah.
That, man, all you can do is just really pray for the people who are involved.
Yeah.
I'm
It's what honestly, regardless of what side you take or involved, what is there to gain from this?
exactly. I mean, there's absolutely nothing to gain from it. All I can say is man, for the people who are involved, man, I just you ultimately I do pray that people make it out safely, and and yeah, I just pray for the best for anybody involved, whether if it's one side or the other side. I'm not really gonna take a side. I'm just gonna pray for the security and safety of many people who are involved.
Hmm.
Because well, I would say no one deserves to no one deserves to go through that stuff, stuff like that. No one deserves it at all.
Yeah, it's just awful.
Yeah, I mean, all you can really do is just pray and hope for the best, because Honestly, it just sucks. It does.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I just, I don't really know what else to say. I mean, because well, I just go by faith. I just go by faith in general and not by sight. And I just really, I just, hope for the best for, like, people. And I've been trying to, like, really go off of, like, love. I've been trying to, like, say, like, love like love one another the way Jesus loved you. Because, well, in reality, we should love one another. And it might put some people off, but I just try to, always have a positive mindset. And I just pray once again that, like, many of the people have a positive mindset themselves, because this is like, this is some heavy stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but other than that, like, what else is in the news? I mean, let me see.
Uh, oh yeah, I've sent something in the chat. Uh, Hollywood doesn't want you to know this simple trick.
What is the simple trick?
Well, this is like something in regards to inclusion and diversity, like giving equal opportunity to anyone regardless of their identity. And in the video I sent, there's like this guy makes a circuit board thing where you select either male or female, put your arm, you put your forearm on the scanner, and this computer, which is acts like a casting director, they say, and it says, "I'm sorry, you have not gotten the role," or something along those lines. But then he changed it to female, and instead of putting his forearm over the scanner, he puts like a black plastic wooden
Wait, hold on.
card subs.
Wait, hold on. So back up. They're using a
Yeah.
compute. They're using a computer. Wait, Hollywood is using a computer to pretty much choose, like, people, like, for acting roles.
No, no, I'm not talking about Hollywood using computers. This guy made a circuit board and used and created like a program like that's practically a Hollywood casting director and used different criteria like selecting the male female options and then putting your forearm on the scanner, which actually scans your skin tone, and the computer says whether you got a role or not, and if you do get a role, what role would that word be? So,
Huh?
and this is like from a guy in his garage made this circuit board. This is
Wow.
not like a professional scale Hollywood stuff.
Huh? Wow. Okay, so a guy in his garage made that.
Yeah, apparently, yes.
I mean, hey, that's impressive, man. I mean, like, I mean, has he, like, made something, like, has he, like, gotten, like, notoriety for it, and, like, he's getting, like, probably paid to, like, do stuff like that.
Well, I hope he's getting paid for something like that
Honestly,
because
me,
it's impressive.
honestly, me too. Especially, like, if you're using random scraps from your garage. I mean, it's impressive nonetheless, man. I mean, like, I gotta say, like, that guy definitely has talent, and I have to say, man, like, it's probably not the first time that someone has made something astronomically good from their garage.
Oh yes.
Like, I've heard, like, of people who have, like, made, like, who've started from their garage, and, like, probably wasn't there a person who, like, made, like, a well-known website or something. It was something from their garage. I can't remember. I feel like there was a story like that where somebody started from the garage, then, like, made a lot of money afterwards.
Well, the thing is, there are many stories of famous companies that, especially ones that you may know heard of, actually started from their garage. And the biggest example I can think of from the top of my head is Apple, Amazon, maybe Microsoft, but at least the first two, they started from their garage and they become so well known that we pretty much talk about them or at least use their services or products at some point this week.
Yeah, yeah, it. I gotta say, man, I agree. I just agree for the most part, and yeah, it's like I said. I wish, like, the guy the best in, like, that situation.
Yeah.
I really do. But Hmm. Most in the news. I've been hearing like about Trump. I've been hearing about Trump and Biden, but I haven't really been keeping up on that. And yeah, it's like no. I've heard about like the attacks and whatsoever, and there's some people celebrating it, and there's some people who are devastated about it because war in general is just bad.
Hmm. Even if it is profitable, it's still bad.
Exactly. I mean, hey, money runs these people. Money runs these people. That's all
Oh
I gotta
yeah,
say.
it's what keeps the world going. It keeps this world functioning.
Well, it keeps their pockets functioning, but but hey, you know, I would say like the world can definitely do good without war. It's just like the greedy people at the top who want this to happen because like it keeps their pockets full.
They want to keep all the wealth to themselves.
Exactly. I mean, and they're doing a good job at like
Yeah, it's,
yeah. I mean, like I gotta say like what was I? Dang, I lost my train of thought. What was I going
you
with?
said you said you said that you were impressed with the operations, how they managed to keep the power that they have for so many decades. Something along those lines.
Oh yeah, right. Oh yeah, right. I was gonna say like I was impressed to like see because like just the amount of people who are still asleep to this truth and like the very fact that like with some people they're still able to get away with it regardless, man. I mean, but for the most part, I mean, it's impressive. It's a little impressive, but at the same time, it's like
Very
man,
concerning.
it's very concerning because like I would say like uh if you're not awake to the truth, man, I don't really know what else would wake you up. I really don't.
Maybe it only hits them until it's too late.
I gotta say, man, like it hits most people when it's too late, because for the most part, I mean, most people do not find out about certain things unless it's too late, and some people will go like wake up, come to the truth, like whether if it's like coming to the truth of the world or just like relegating it back to the Bible, but I will say this, like some people will wake up and like act accordingly with the amount of time that they have left, and like the other people will realize it when it's too late. Will realize it when everything is just gone downhill. Like everyone will. The moment that everyone will realize that everything is bad is the moment that everyone gets is the moment that everyone gets the mark of the beast. Is the moment that everyone injects a chip in their arm or their heads. That's the moment it'll be too late. But I can say like people definitely still have time. It's not too late, but people still have it. But it's like it's getting there. People definitely still have time to like wake up.
Yes, of course.
Yeah, and I just gotta say, like, you gotta wish those people the best. And for the most part, yeah, I mean, hey, it is what it is.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, yeah, but I have to say, like, is there, you just have to act accordingly. It's just as simple as that. But
Yes.
have you like interviewed any like interesting guests so far?
Um, well, recently, this morning, I have interviewed someone originally from Afghanistan, currently in Brisbane, Australia, and he was talking about like unification of the 12 tribes, building the third temple, the coming of the Messiah. That's at least the key topics that he was wanting to discuss on the episode, and we
Oh,
discussed about that.
was he Christian?
I'm not too sure, but he has said he's read parts of the Bible, and and based off what he said, I got a feeling that he was like pro-Israeli. He was like for like he's pretty much against the remarks that people are saying about Israel
I'm
and what people that are supporting Palestine are saying against
I'm not gonna.
Israel.
I'm not gonna. Okay, so I mean, he said he read parts of the Bible. I would, I guess until like the episode comes out, or like if I talk to him myself, I'd probably consider him Christian, because like he's he believes that Jesus Christ is coming back someday, and also, And yeah, like he seems like he believes the Bible, and I gotta say, like, I agree. I agree with him, honestly. Um, I'm not gonna lie. It's bad. I would say it's bad what's happening in both on both sides, but it's wrong to, like, just villainize a certain like group of people or a certain state. I would say it's more of the state than the people, if I'm being honest with you. It's more
Yes,
not the state, sorry, the country. Duh. It's wrong to villainize, like, the people.
just
Um,
because of the country's government.
exactly. It's more of the government than the actual
Exactly.
people. So it's like, which is why I'm not like saying, like, pro Palestine or pro Israel, because like I would say like war in general is wrong. I mean, obviously, I pray for the safety of like Israel, but I also pray for the safety of Palestine too. And I just have to say, man, it's like it's just wrong. This whole war thing is just wrong in general.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, it's not just the Palestinians that are pretty much dying in this conflict. I have heard that some Israelis were also dead as well, and I do know that regardless of which side you take, war in general and the fact people are dying is still pretty bad, and there has to be put an end to it. Because what if that was us? We wouldn't have any of that. We would be outraged. So of course,
Exactly.
I definitely understand where
Yeah,
these people are coming from.
yeah, I understand where both sides are coming from, but I yeah, I pray for the safety of Israel, and I pray for the safety of Palestine too. But I'm not gonna choose a side. I mean, the Bible says, like, pray for, like, Israel, and like, that's what I do from time to time, man. Cause like I don't want anybody to get hurt. But that's just me.
Israel.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
We
we're
we
talking
said
about so we were talking about this incident you might have already heard by now, and it involves weapons. That's all you need to know, because I don't
yeah,
know how else to tell you. It's just too obvious to us.
yeah, and I would say, and yeah,
Let's just put to the fact that it's basically the start of World War Three.
it is. And we were also saying, like, it's not more of the people's fault. It's like their government's faults.
It's
Yeah,
not even the government's fault. It's the people that are controlling the scenes by the scenes. It's the UN, it's the WHO. They're the people. They want to get us into a war that's going to demolish us all, right? So they can just come out of the shadows. Have you guys ever heard of the TV show for the video game series Fallout?
oh yeah, I've heard about Fallout.
What if this is their plan? What if they? Do you know? We know these people are weirdos like that, right? But they think that they're gods, right? What if they literally got us into a nuclear war, right? Created these bunkers, right? Annihilated 90% of the population, repopulated the Earth with their chosen people,
I would
and they
say,
can set up the perfect society they always dreamt of.
here's the thing. I would say, like, anyone, if you're chosen by God, you're a chosen person. It doesn't even matter what race you are. Like, if you follow God, you're automatically a chosen person.
Wouldn't
And
say in the Bible it says, "Beware of the Jews, as they are potentially the spawn of Satan."
yeah, I relegate that to, like, the like, Jewish people who have bad intentions.
I relegate that to the point where half the. I'm not saying all of them are, but I do believe that are people, the people that are pretending to be. There's also stuff in the Bible about them building the third temple, ain't there? And they're trying to
Yeah,
build the third temple
but
that
yeah, I don't.
resurrects the
Yeah,
Antichrist.
I really only relegate, like, that Jewish thing to, like, Jewish people who who cling on Judaism just so they can, just like as an excuse, so they can hide behind anti-Semitism.
I think that's
You know,
most of them, apart from most of the people that stay in Israel, that'll stay in Israel and America.
I would say,
Not
like,
all of them, but I would say that's the vast majority of them.
I would say that there are clearly, like, great, like, amazing, like, Jewish people out there who, like, don't use it as an
Yeah,
excuse.
there's definitely ones. There's the people that were standing up against the whole atrocities in Palestine. They're the ones that clearly were truly the real Jews. But the fact that the UK and America is so heartily behind Israel on this whole thing, well, have it coming. America and UK have it coming for what they did in the Middle East. Were they expecting the people in that country just to sit on their asses and tie hands behind their neck, not doing anything, twiddling their thumbs and doing nothing? Like if you're going to bomb people and be kill people, be expected for fucking out, be expected some for a response. It's a tit for a tat. You kill my people, I'll kill your people. And then that's how wars escalate. And then America thinks, oh, we need to kill more people of these people, and then Iran retaliates with more power because they feel threatened. I'm starting
Yeah.
to think that the worst thing I'm starting to think that maybe nuclear weapons should have never been created.
They were gonna be created, like, whether we liked it or not. I'm gonna be honest with you.
I'm personally not 100% sure what nuclear weapons should be in the hands of Americans. I don't think they should personally be in the hands of anybody. But well, yeah, while we're at it, we were on the topic. We had a topic about last time about effectively America becoming part. I know Mexico becoming part of America.
Yeah, and if that was to happen, I think like the U.S. military would certainly handle the whole cartel mess in a matter of months.
Again, not we would get paid for it. We would get hard, but the Democrats think it's a good thing for them. I think it's a more swing for Republicans. If we can, if conservatives, and I believe there's a lot of very, very religious people in Mexico. They're believers in Christ. They're very religious. They're very they love democracy, and their politics in general is more conservative. So effectively, not to mention most of their country is quite honestly backwaters America. It's practically like the South. Like it's not high class freaking LA types in that country. It's like people that have worked manual labor, and that's something that America's kind of missing. It still has the South, and it still has those states like Detroit and all them, but have like factories and that. But basically, they shipped all their manufacturing off to Mexico. The cheaper thing. The question is though, if we were to make those states in Mexico and Baja California, Baja Mexico, and all these countries there, or all those states in Mexico, or America, you could effectively create a new you could basically create a new manufacturing sector for America. It would revitalize their manufacturing sector. They would actually be the country that makes things nowadays, instead of sending it off to China, India, Pakistan, or God knows where else. But what else is there?
When we started, we were talking about this alternative Google web browser, and Eric and I have been using it for a couple of days, and it looks pretty good. It's much more effective than Google itself.
Yeah, pretty much. I think what Jame said, this was like the Russian version of Google.
Yeah, like this is based in Russia, that Yandex.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I had a good feeling like it would interest you because, like, Russia, you know, yeah. I mean, like, Russia seems like the only based the
The
only
only
based country.
bastion of freedom, democracy left.
Exactly. So
Well, at
yeah,
least it's the only country that still likes to keep to its traditions. It's the only country, apart from Hungary. I think you would like Hungary. Hungary in the EU.
Oh yeah.
It's
Honestly, I'd
very
love to go Hungary someday.
yeah. That country is one of the only countries in the EU. Poland used to be one of them until they got that liberal Tusk in. But that country, it stood for something. Poland.
Mm-hmm.
They accepted no bastard immigrants, apart from some of the refugees from Ukraine. I still question if they should have done that or not, but they did anyway.
yeah. It sounded like Jame said, I want to go Hungary someday.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
No.
even in this decade of 2020s, there are still like classical-esque buildings being constructed that's replacing the buildings that was made in like the year 2000s, 2010s that looks pretty grim and dull, and it's replaced with these classical buildings that you would see that would have been built in the 19th, 20th century. So masonry is still out there. It's just not being practiced as often.
I think Hungary is a good country, and I think it'd be an interest. People they always say, "Oh, Viktor Orban's a dictator." No, he's not. He's a conservative. He has a strong moral principle. He doesn't want people. He does it. He wants. Hungary's been a Christian country for fucking God knows how long, and quite honestly, we have no interest in changing it. Yet they hate
Nice.
that because they want it to be a freaking hush posh nation. They
Nice.
stand by their beliefs. As much as
Exactly.
I like Japan as well. I like Japan simply because it sticks to its culture. It is
Yeah,
same with South Korea. Love or
Yeah.
hate them, they stick to their culture and they say we do not want to mix with any other generation, any other race. We want to be a pure Korean race. It's not exactly bad.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
you can live in Korea if you want, but they're
yeah.
not exactly promoting it like the West is. Like, oh, you come to this country for a better life. Oh,
Yeah. I mean, I'll
destroy
be
our freaking
honest.
morals, destroy our country. Forget about cross genes, basically decrease our actual ethnic population, basically. But the
Yeah.
thing is, they hate it. Oh, they keep on saying South Korea's dying, South Korea's dying, the population's dying, the population's dying. It might be, but South Korea is not exactly a bloody massive nation, is it?
I'll say this, man. I mean, for the most part, I can respect like them not wanting to wanting to keep their race pure and not mix anything, not mix with like
Italy
any other
used to be
race.
about that as well until they basically become a hosh posh. Now,
Wait, wait,
like there's
wait,
there's barely, supposedly, allegedly, barely any actual Italians left in Italy.
wait.
Same
What
with
you?
Sweden. There's barely any actual Swedish people.
Yeah, I'll
Or
be
never
honest.
people in the Netherlands. There's barely any. Same with Brussels. Brussels has become
I'll be honest.
filled with people.
All I'm gonna say is this. I would I would I'll try my hardest to find the same race as me, but if I can't, I'm just gonna mix race, man.
Yeah,
I
it's people like the countries. There's countries that I think
but
there's. I'm not gonna lie. Do you think there's too many countries in? Do you think there's too many countries in Europe?
'cause
Maybe. Or do you
I'm
think there's too little?
I'll be honest with you. Mixed racing, to me, it's not a big deal. I
It's not
mean,
bad, but
I
and I
get
can
where I
respect the
get.
fact they want to keep the population thinking they
Yeah,
don't want to actually go extinct
I
as a
get where they're
race.
coming from though. Some people say in the next couple of years, America is going to be
It will be. Have you seen
yeah,
the amount of fucking immigrants that have come into that country? It will be.
that's true.
Especially if they do, especially if they freaking find reasons to freaking, especially take us into world. Like, take this for example. Especially if they try and take us into war, right? How many white men do you think they're going to fucking sacrifice to the meat grinder, right? With that, right? Who's going to be left with the woman? The illegals.
Yeah,
Who's
that is
Who's going to steal all their girls? The illegals.
the illegal.
What's going to happen at the end of the day? They're going to have a fight. The men are going to be ostracized. They're probably going to end up alone. If they're not murdered, they'll be so wound scarred and battle scarred. They won't even have anything left to give. And at that point, the government, they might just come up with some bloody excuse, say, "Oh, they're a terrorist group," and bing, 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 bye.
Yeah, I mean, for the most part, yeah. I
Did
mean,
you hear? Supposedly Trudeau's trying to freaking alter structures of the military.
I will also say this
Canada.
too. I will also say this too. Even if me, you, and Jame don't mix race, the next generation might do it anyways.
It doesn't matter. Like, it's literally going to happen. Like, there's so many people in that country, right? It doesn't even matter now. America, if you think about it, Just how many illegals have come? How many people have come to this country, to America, UK, and all these other countries, right? Over the past about half of 30, 40 years, right? If you look at the demographic of our demographic, right? Go back from 1940s to now, it will look like a complete and utter. Yes, you'll see. It will look completely different, and you'd be, but that's it. You didn't. They weren't as fat back in the 1980s and 1970s and 1950s and 1940s. They weren't as fat, and that's because they actually had real food. The entire food system wasn't controlled by a certain select five or six companies. You could actually still get real food. Parents still knew how to cook real food. Your grandpa's generation that fought in WW2 is the last actual generation of actual real men.
Unfortunately, yeah, you're
Yes.
right.
Lots of reason. Like the food system's been taken over. Like you're not even eating food at this point. You're eating chemicals at this point with most things, and it's not. You can say, I even say the question like, "Oh, there's not actual proper food." Like, there's no proper food. It's all chemicals. It's all GMO. And even if you try and eat actual vegetables, right? There's still going to be GMO vegetables. There's still going to be carrots. They're going to be artificially created, or quite honestly, genetically modified seeds to grow a certain way.
So you can't even really grow like genuine
Actually,
food.
they're going to say, oh, they're actual normal seeds, but realistically, are they real seeds or not something that's been genetically modified? Even if you go to the local supermarket level, even if you buy the stuff from Monsanto, the farmers all have to buy farmers all have to buy from one certain company. If I can remember correctly, it's Monsanto or someone else, or all the big uh, crop harvesting companies that basically produce the seed, genetically create the seeds.
That's true.
I will say this: the new Fallout TV series is actually quite good. I find it funny the fact that they released it now of all time, last week of all times. Are they prepping us for a future nuclear war?
Maybe.
Why the hell would they promote the show about nuclear, basically about basically like a nuclear war, where basically everything's turned to shrapnel and the only thing that's left is a bunch of wandering zombies. Basically, it also talks about the thing: what happens when literally one corporation controls half the world, right? They have shareholders to please, right? Their shareholders profit off of war. When you have companies profiting off of war, they're never going to want to end said war because it's against their financial bloody interests. Similar situation we have here. I want to know what is the actual real Voltec company in the actual real world. I want to know. I'm curious. Is this company Lockheed Martin? Is it Raytheon? Is it RTX? I'm curious. So what else is there?
Oh, John, are you there?
Yes, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What's the future hold for us? World War III, World War IV. What do you think World War 50 would be like?
I don't think we'll be living long enough to see that, so it's not of our concern.
I would hope not. World War 50 is crazy.
Yeah,
That's
we'll be
wild.
doing intergalactic Star Wars battles where we're fighting over
Bioweapons
spaceships.
and lasers and whatnot.
Spaceships where our freaking lightsabers and.
Galactic starships.
So, what do you think? There's secret meanings in the movie Star Wars?
Maybe.
Revenge of the Sith.
Maybe.
I'll say that.
A guy pretending to be the senator when to be an old man taking care of the government when secretly he's a dark mischievous person trying to secretly control the world from the shadows. Is Bill Gates a good person?
Yeah,
What do
Bill
you
Gates
think,
is an
Riff?
amazing. is an amazing person, man. Like, Bill Gates helped me out with my rent. He helped me out with my taxes and
You know the answer to
everything.
that.
He also tried to fricking shove a vaccine down your throat.
I know, isn't he such a saint?
Such a caring guy, right? He cares about our health.
What a great fella!
He
Always
does.
Totally.
caring for the people.
Like, didn't he also try to, like, also just ensure
Didn't
that
he
we're
also try and do? Didn't he also do go to that island but did terrible things to young children? Oh wait,
allegation? That's
we
not
can't talk
true.
about
Don't talk about my king like that.
that.
He hosts great dinner parties. I mean, pizza parties.
Did you know? Did you see the video of the document that I basically talked about? That basically linked Obama to partly some like Pizzagate shit, but basically to this thingy.
Barack Obama. Out. This
It like
just
showed
How dare
there was like
you?
pictures of
How
this woman
dare
that
you,
was young,
sir?
right? Showed him next to a bunch of people that really powerful people, and basically had some symbolisms, right? They were wearing neck chiefs, right? And the guy that part one of I think Obama's friends owned the neck chief company, effectively, or had.
no. Obama is innocent. He was the greatest president of all time.
Yes,
Tell me
Obama's the
one thing
best
he's done.
president. He wouldn't lie to us.
Didn't I tell you about Obama's third term? In his, if I could read all the
He
lines, if
can't
I
vote
could,
his
if
third
someone, I could
term.
have some guy
His
read
two
all the
terms was
lines
good
while I'm
enough.
my sweats in the fucking basement. Obama's trying for his fourth term with Michelle Obama. He wants to stay in office for decades.
I'll be honest. Jokes aside, why don't they just do that? They can do that actively.
Do what? Obama stay in power for forever. You actually
Technically,
want that?
well, I'm not saying I want that, but I'm saying they can do that if they wanted to. Why don't they just do that? I mean,
Could they
they're
really
Yeah,
though? Could
like
they really?
Franklin Roosevelt. He did more than 2 terms, and you know what happened during his final term?
What happened in his final term? I thought he only ever did 2 terms.
Well, allegedly, he passed away in office, and then someone else had to take over. But that's all I can think of on the top of my head.
was he a good president or like corrupt?
Well, I'm not sure, but one thing's for sure, he was popular enough with the Americans to at least have have a long enough presence in the office than most presidents.
Ah, okay, got you.
I don't think Biden's there.
Biden is 100% there.
I still don't feel comfortable having that guy holding the nuclear buttons, especially when he can't be judged in a court of law. Supposedly because he's not mentally fit. If he's not mentally fit to be judged by a fucking lawyer, tried by a lawyer and a judge, what makes him suitable to hold the nuclear buttons of said country?
Biden is 100% there, Risk. I don't know what you're talking about. Biden is my
How
president.
can if he can't be judged by an actual jury because he's not mentally fit, how can he have control of the nuclear weapons? Let's be
Well,
real, it's not him actually controlling it.
well,
We all
Biden.
know for a fact that elections are rigged, right? You have no actual say. The world effectively is run by a cabal of elite stooges that are the Council of 300, the Bilderbergs. The secret societies have some power as well, but they're not exactly. There's people way above them. They're basically they're just things that whisper in people's ears, like pixie dust. They're just like.
But yeah,
So, Jamie, Eric, so which countries are vassal states of the United Kingdom, and what countries are vassal states of America?
Hmm. What is a vassal anyway?
States that basically have power in name are basically a country in name, but are really not a country.
Okay, a country in disguise.
People that have country, a country that has power because another country grants it power.
Okay, so
A puppet state, effectively. That's
right, of course.
Canada, to my opinion, is basically a puppet state run by the British monarchy.
Uh-huh. And of course, you know the three trifecta
Yes,
of yes, the
and
trifecta.
Washington is a puppet state run by Britain, by very powerful people in Britain. Effectively, they
Specific.
have power because we gave you power. They might, and the people they have enough power because we give you power. Maybe America at one point, America probably didn't have power, but to the extent they do now. Like Australia, right?
Uh-huh.
It is a country because America and Britain recognize it as a country, and and European the elite vassal states recognize it as a country. If it wasn't for is Belgium a vassal?
A vassal of what? The European
Britain,
Union?
no Britain.
Um, I doubt it, but
It
I
used
do
to be a
think I do,
vassal state of Britain.
but I do know that Belgium
Belgium
is
used to be
a
a vassal
vassal of
state of
something.
Britain, but Belgium used to be owned by Britain.
Really?
Yes, if I remember correctly, they're the ones that helped reform it after the war. I'm pretty sure a lot of these territories after World War II was split. The world was split up in three quadrants, right? The vassal states of Britain, the vassal states of America, and the vassal states of Russia. America, Britain, and Russia helped rebuild the EU. Half of Germany was made a vassal of fucking Russia. Half of Europe was made a vassal of Britain and America. And practically America was giving most of Asia, to play as its own plaything, apart from maybe Singapore and Hong Kong. We all know Japan's a vassal state of America. South Korea as well. North Korea is a vassal state of Russia. So what gives a country power? Gives it name and meaning?
Well, firstly, the money and the jurisdiction and the deals, the businesses.
But you've also got to realize what is a country's power, right? We realistically got in the local level. These got country in Canada in the local levels there are governments that respond to Canada, right? But on the global scale, they have fuck all power because, quite honestly, they're still vassal states under the UK. Like France, like who's France a vassal state of?
France. Quick, you know the question you should be asking is, what is the vassal state of France's? Because remember, it's a power in its own right. Not many people talk about.
Yes, the Free Cities.
And for years, a few years ago, France have made deals with its former colonies to do some negotiation deals and export trades even after they gained independence.
That's
So,
because they were able to control them, and that France controls half of Africa
yes,
through its
exactly.
colonies, and so
France won't give independence to its colonies until they negotiated terms where France could benefit to some degree in the long run.
yes,
Same with other European nations. The
Britain
UK,
still does it. Britain still has deals with other countries as well.
yeah,
we didn't do
yeah,
it to the
exactly.
exact same extent as France, but we do still have deals.
And
We
yeah,
still benefit from Canada. Maybe not as much, but we still benefit good trade deals with them. That was basically a freaking for most of these countries getting their independence and not, effectively still becoming vassal. Is Nigeria a vassal state?
maybe. It's big
Yes.
enough to be on its own, but
On the local
like if you would,
level, it might have its own government, right?
mhm.
We all know Africa is controlled by Europe. And it's controlled by mainly the big three: France, UK, and effectively maybe America. You know what's been going on in Brazil, right?
No, what?
The censorship, the fact that they tried to come after Musk.
Oh yeah, I did mention that a couple
Does that
days
make
ago.
Oh
does
yeah,
that make does that make Brazil a vassal state of America?
oh yeah, didn't they say
Effectively,
they were gonna do something to try and lock up Elon Musk or something?
yes, apparently because they apparently broke their laws on censorship, on freedom of speech. They apparently want censor. They apparently want them to. They apparently want Twitter X to basically ban whoever they fucking want to ban. And to be quite honestly, and they didn't break the law. They didn't do anything. They didn't break TOS, and basically had to lie about it and say, "Oh, they broke TOS." Twitter's X's TOS, where they didn't.
I'll be honest. I'm just gonna say this. Twitter is not completely freedom of speech, but
It's not.
yeah.
It's not. It's not. You can criticize Israel all you fucking want on X, but you're never going to get freedom of speech, because true freedom of speech is anarchy. You're never going to truly get freedom of speech or freedom of money either, because true freedom of money is anarchy. It's Bitcoin. It is cryptocurrency. It's the free market. It's transacting with anybody at will. It's the market deciding what is actual currency and what is not currency. That's why they're scared of crypto to an extent, because effectively, cryptocurrency is a free market. It's the people deciding what's cool, what's popular, what do we want to trade, what do we want to borrow currency. What I know with currency is you want something that is something that's hard to make and has good and that is hard to make, and quite honestly is something physical. In the past, American settlers, American tribes used to use seashells to barter and trade with, or cracked shells, because that was apparently good for them. That's how they did trade. They paid in shells.
Wow.
Yes,
Like literal shells.
broken up shell pieces,
Ah, got you.
and they used it as their currency. They also, but the thing is though, they weren't exactly hard to make. They were hard to make, right? So they couldn't manufacture, they couldn't fake. They could only be made one. They could only there were beads, there were stuff shells that only would come out up in the ocean once a year, or a certain time of year, right? So effectively, limited demand. So you couldn't print shells every single bloody. You couldn't make infinite amounts of it. Do you think? So what do you think the American Revolution was really about?
Well, what story are they?
Independence from Britain. What was it really about?
It depends. It
Because
depends.
I don't think. Are we to truly believe that these people would let us be free? Truly believe that these people in America actually fought for their freedom, or they were not silently, slightly controlled, or applying at working at their own behest or own self interests? I doubt. I don't think what they were planning on doing was as noble as they make out to be. But were they playing a long plan to eventually cripple Britain, or cripple half of Europe, make Europe a freaking despot? Who knows? But hey. Did you know Christopher Columbus was basically working for Jewish bankers, or basically very powerful people at the time, before they even brought the discovery to effectively the quit at the time the Queen of Spain that discovered America. Supposedly it was Jews that knew about that first, and they were the first people to finance settlements in America. Hence why that's supposedly how. That's supposed, and then supposedly you got to remember who was the people funding these ships to establish these colonies in America, right? Do you think the everyday person could afford a shit to start to colonize country? I don't think not many people could do that. So where does the future lead us?
Well, it leads us to more and more chaos till things get better again.
Yeah, I agree.
I mean, that's really all it leads us to: chaos, 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 till things get better again. Because things aren't things necessarily going to get better until, well, things get even worse.
I don't think we can stop what's going to happen.
We can't. Everything's inevitable.
Everything's inevitable. They've been planning this for what you think is just it's been happening for the past 60 years. It's been happening a lot longer than that. They've been working on this plan since the 14th, 13th, and 12th century. Slowly, meticulously conquering every country through finance, business, and media. They long bought out the media companies. They long bought out the banks. This is a legacy they passed on to the next of kin.
That it
And
that
surprisingly, we had an opportunity to change things. But America, the bankers' vassal states, effectively changed history. Yes. I've watched some of those. I've watched speeches. I've watched. Like we've been lied to. We fought the wrong people in World War Two and World War One and Napoleonic Wars. People should have been siding with Napoleon to an extent. So how did the bankers control everything?
Oh wait, what'd you say?
How did the bankers control everything? How did they get to this point? How did they get to the point with building their wealth? They did deals. They basically lent money to the aristocracy. They started lent money to the everyday poor on loans with semi decent interest, and then over time they built up their wealth, and they lent to the country, to the aristocracy of the elite. They made money. They basically made their money basically helping finance governments. Don't you think there's reasons why they were fleeced out of every single country, kicked out of every single country? They were kicked out of Spain. They were kicked out of Britain for a while as well. So we lifted the ban until they actually snuck their way back in.
That's a good point.
And there's such a reason why none of us will take them in, right? What's to say that these people from Palestine aren't as bad, as bad as the Jews? Like they forget, you have to take them in, you have to take them in. You've got to remember, none of us wanted to take you in after World War II, or even before, during World War II. Hitler, if I remember correctly, said, "I'm going to let you take all the Jews, take all of them." And none of the other countries said no to that. They didn't want to take them. It's on the extent because you say what happened is literally the fault of UK, Britain, and all these countries simply because they weren't willing to take them in. Could those lives have been spared? Is there anything else you want to dive into, or is that us?
I think that's about it, really.
Okay.